You see it in the design. I mean, ID.Polo just looks less futuristic as ID3, ID7 did. It's more that you can barely see this is an electric car, and I think that's what they're going for.
All right, welcome back to the VW ID Talk podcast, your home for all things EV and specifically Volkswagen. Remember, you can catch us on Spotify, Overdrive, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite podcast platform. And we're happy to see you here on YouTube. And today, Jan, who are we talking to?
So today, we have the pleasure to talk to Chris from the Battery Life. Hey, Chris.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you look familiar.
Yes. I think it was a year ago as well, right?
Gosh, was it already a year ago? Oh,
wow. Yes.
Time flies.
Time flies. So if you don't know Chris, check out his channel because he has over 1,000 videos. You have 3 channels, including a Deutsch channel. And I like your behind the battery channel as well. And so today we would like to talk about 3 things with Chris. The one thing is his journey from he was among the very first people in the world who got a first electric Volkswagen, the ID3. Now he's driving ID7. And then I think his dream commuter is the ID.Polo, but to get there, maybe there will be this in-between step of ID bus. So we'll talk about this journey. And then the second topic, Chris, you are testing cars and you have tested so many cars in 2025. And we'd like to kind of talk to you about your experiences and pick one dream car, one commuter car, and one family car. And then in the last segment, this is the most exciting because we are going to geek out about the ID.Polo, which is formerly known as ID2, and the new MEB platform that is an evolution of the platform that underpins our ID4s.
Last time we had talked, you had just gotten your ID7, and we talked about how the difference between the Tourer is kind of the big family car, or for somebody that's entertaining guests. You got the ID7 sedan. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to know kind of how that's holding up. Your assessment was amazing efficiency, amazing performance, comfort. After living with it for almost a year, do you still feel the same way about it?
Well, I had it for 2 years, actually.
Oh my God.
So I got it in December of 23.
Yeah. Wow. Our American perspective is a little skewed on that because they were going to release the ID7, right? And I don't know if it's been 8 months or a year now. And then all of a sudden they said, you know what? No, they took it off the website. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
No idea why.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just a shame that, so many people buy crossovers and SUVs, and I understand, but the Hyundai Ioniq 6 is a great car. And they're just not selling that many of them. I think they sold like 10,000 units, so they're chasing the volume, and I get it. But boy, it sure would be a great car for people that want a sedan. They can't get one, an electric sedan. Your choices are the Ioniq 6 or like a Porsche, a Taycan,
the Audi, right?
And I guess the Audi's a hatchback, Q6. Right? The A6 and the Q6, but it looks like a sedan. So how are you? So 2 years now in your ID7. How do you like it?
So ID7 rules. I can just say that. No, it's for me it was such a big step to go from ID3 to ID7 because when you drive an ID3, it's not a cheap car, but you notice, okay, it drives okay, it charges okay, but then you get a newer ID4 and you feel, okay, this is totally different. The suspension is different. It's more comfort you get, and the seats are a bit better. But then when you get to ID7, they have changed everything and they made everything better. So the seats in an ID7 are 20 million times better than in an ID4. They're the best seats I've ever sat in. I still love them. You can get different seats. I have the premium seats because I think they only have normal seats and then premium. That's it. And I wanted those because they have the massage function, not just in the back, also in the bum. I have the massage on every time I drive. The seat ventilation is amazing. Seat heater is the warmest I've ever had. And my wife loves the seats. My wife is extremely short. She's only 5 feet tall. and she loves the seats, and she has a lot of cars, even our ID3 back in the day, where the bottom part where you sit on is too long, that it digs into her knees, or even further, because there's a big, but the ID7 you can adjust it and everything, and she's fine with it. And ID7 just is I think the pinnacle what you can have with the MEB platform, up to the biggest battery. I mean, a long wheelbase ID bus has the same size battery than an ID7, the most efficient ID that ever existed.
Yeah,
and that's
the
why
ID7.
that's why you get this amazing range. Charging is great in both. So I get 192 kilowatt peak, and the big battery gets 205. So both have 25 minutes, 10 to 80%. They're more efficient than a Tesla Model 3 all-wheel drive. The only Tesla that's more efficient than the ID7 is the standard range, or the rear wheel also. But from the size, what you get for us, it's way too big. We don't need that. But the comfort, when you drive, the comfort is a different level. I find it a bit more comfortable than an Audi A6. It's it's a different way how it drives, but I love my ID7. I had 2 weeks now, almost 2 weeks. I had a Mini Cooper E from BMW, and it's extreme sporty go-kart car. So it's exactly that. It's horrible. And yesterday I brought it back to Munich and picked up Hank, my ID7, and I was, yeah, that's better. The car is great, but in the 2 years, 3 weeks ago, I got the first update. So when it comes to software development, Volkswagen is extremely slow.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're conservative, and it's good. It serves them well a lot of times. But when they've got this competition from people that are moving fast, it's not good.
I think the problem is, like you said, they're conservative, and they think, yes, a new software thing is coming, but are we sure we want to put it in the car? Will it work? Do we do over-the-air update? I mean, I didn't get an over-the-air update. I had to go to a dealer and get the update. Cars that have 5.0 are getting over-the-air updates, but with 4.0, they were like, let's be sure that it works.
So what I was going to ask you was kind of sort of related to the ID7. I'd say that's a pretty ringing endorsement of the ID7. I'm glad you love it so much. The seats, are they taller than the ID4 seats? What I'm asking is, if you can find us the seats and ship them to the US, can we put them in our ID4?
That's 100% we could. Like, I
really?
think we could.
Okay.
We could.
They're not a different height. Okay.
They shouldn't be that different height, because the car is a little lower. The ID7 is a little lower than ID4, and so it should be retrofittable. The question is, well, would it? We can follow our framework. Would it mechanically fit? Would it electrically fit? And would we have the software? And that's where I think the problem would be, that because our cars are the older generation, that we still have ID software 3. So, but I think we will figure it out. But I agree with you, Wes. This would be a dream retrofit, because these seats are heavenly. Like Chris mentioned, they're really, 20 million times better, and I totally agree.
I just have to find one of my European guys. That someday some poor fellow in Bavaria is going to wake up and find his seats missing from his IDs. They'll have been shipped to me in the US. So, but yeah, it's really great to hear that you like it so much. It really makes me even more jealous. Because my father's a sedan guy. He's never going to buy. I'm trying to get him to get an electric car. He would never get probably a crossover, but I think if the ID7 were available, maybe I can talk him into an A6, but the Ioniq looks a little too futuristic for him.
It's not a nice looking car. It drives great. Software is okay. Charging is amazing. Consumption, I think it's more more efficient than an ID7. Charge is better. I just know that in 2025 in Germany, the ID7 is the most sold EV.
And I'm not surprised. Like, that car is amazing. I drove it for almost 2 weeks, and I didn't want to give it back, but I really loved it. So Okay, so I think it's a great segue to talk about the cars you've tested. So you've tested everything from the BMWs, to Kias, Polestars. So those cars, and also some Chinese like BYDs and Neos. So these cars are not built on the MEB platform. And there are some cars that are built on the MEB platform that are not available in the US, like Skodas, Cupras, but also there are 2 Fords that are built on the MEB platform, which is really surprising, like Capri and Explorer. So How did you feel about like those Ford cars, and what do you think about Cupra before we go into those other cars?
I mean, the basis is extremely similar. So if you drive an ID4 and then a Cupra Tavascan or Skoda Enyaq or Ford Explorer, it's not, there's not something happening where you say, ooh. So it's extremely similar. The drive is the same, regen is the same, power feels the same. The software is extremely similar. They just did. So in the Tavascan, you have a few different changes. The software skin looks a bit different, and then in the Tavascan, you have this weird middle thing that looks
I know,
like,
yeah, strange.
That just has the hazard button on it. I don't get it. It doesn't look amazing, and the problem is if you want to get to your phone, you have to go around it. So it doesn't have any sense. I mean, we all when the ID3 came out in 2020, or even before, other electric cars, it was just okay. This is a new electric platform. We don't need anything in the middle. We don't need a gear change button here. We don't need anything. We can have this all free, and then we have an amazing space feeling. And then Cupra said, "Nah, let's put something in the middle here."
Yeah, well, I love the gear selector in my ID4. I love where it is, and that was one thing I was disappointed in the 2024 models. They moved it to the stalk because I felt like on the Binnacle there was, it doesn't take up the space of a stalk. It's easy, it's intuitive. I liked it a lot.
But honestly, when I tested the ID7 versus the Skoda electric, Skoda still has the selector on the middle console, which I agree with you, Chris, that it's waste of space, because I find even the shifting on the lever and moving the wiper lever or merging the wiper lever to the left side, I find it more intuitive than having the shift stalk or the shifter on the middle console. And also it's reversed. I'm not sure if you all notice, but if you want to put the car into reverse, you push that small button forward. And that's reverse. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me now when I think about it, right? But anyway.
There are so many different electric cars on the European market on the MEB platform, and 95% there are exactly the same.
Wow. Okay.
So if you buy an ID3 or if you buy a Cupra Born or a Skoda Elroq, they charge the same when they have the same battery size, they have the same feel, same regen, which is not very strong. The software is, again, 90% the same. There are tiny little differences, and I think the reason for this is just, and I see a lot of people, I would never buy a Volkswagen, but I have a Skoda Enyaq or an Elroq, and the same, I don't like this, I want a Cupra, and it really works. So people, I don't want this car, but I want the other car, even though it's 95% exactly the same.
I see that people have brand affinity, and I tested the Elroq, and I must say I really like the car, especially from the interior design. It's like a modern interior design. And when we reviewed it with Wes was like, "Oh, this is almost like an Audi-like design." Yeah. It felt a little more upscale than ID4 or ID3. I probably shouldn't say it out loud because they might make some changes on the next model. But what I really like about the Elroq is that it accepts also the front motor. So they have an RS variant for all-wheel drive. This is something that ID3 doesn't have, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look at the Elroq and the Enyaq, they're exactly the same, just 30 centimeters less long. That's the only difference. They have the same batteries, the same motors, RS version, and so on. But it's a lot of people like it because those 30 centimeters, for whatever reason, in the configurator, it's 6,000 euros less.
Wow.
So I don't know why it's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Out of those cars that you have driven, what would be your dream car, like a sporty type of ride? What do you think is a good family car, and what do you think is a great commuter car?
For me, commuter and family, I mean, family car, if you need a lot of space, then of course it's the ID7, but also ID7 as a commuter car is totally fine. When I got the ID7, I thought, my God, it's almost 5 meters long. It barely fits in the garage. How before an ID3, which is 70 centimeters, what is that? Almost 20 inch less long. So I thought, how the hell can I get around?
30, yeah.
how can I get around? But it's no problem since the turning circle is so amazing in MEB platform cars, especially when you only have rear wheel drive. So for me, ID7 is commute and family.
Okay. So Chris, what do you think about the ID.Polo?
I think it's the next step that Volkswagen needs in Europe, because in 2027 or the end of 2026, Volkswagen has to sell a lot more EVs. And they need, back when it was called ID2 and the ID1, they need those cars desperately.
The Polo is what they were going to call the ID.2 All.
What the ID2 All was like the
prototype,
the concept.
The prototype, and then we all thought the car will be called ID2 as ID3 and then ID2. Right. And then they started with the GTI, and then we're all like, they're going more into the ICE world here, and then with the ID.Polo,
it seems like they want to make it more palatable to people that are used to ICE cars. So we'll have just an ID Golf and an ID Polo and maybe not even that, just a Golf, a Polo, and a Tiguan and whatever. They'll just be the EV versions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And now, when you see it in the design, I mean, ID Polo just looks less futuristic as ID3, ID7 did. It's more that you can barely see this as an electric car, and I think that's what they're going for.
Right. But it's just a really compact. It'll be about the size of a Polo. You open the hatch and you've got enough room to put some groceries and things behind the second row. But if you only have two people and you lay down the back seats, it's plenty of room. So
the trunk has the same space as an ID3 because it goes a bit up more, and then you have the amazing space in underneath, since the rear motor is not there anymore, since it's front wheel drive.
Oh, it's front wheel drive.
So the MEB Plus has a different battery technology. They call it cell to pack. So in our cars, we are used to those modules that have those batteries stacked in, and so those modules would be replaceable potentially. Well, I already have 2 new modules, and the cell to pack is not modularized inside, so they can pack it. They can pack more capacity into smaller space, and also the weight is less. And there are different chemistries of battery, so that's the battery change. There is also the motor change. So there's no rear wheel drive option at all. There's only front wheel drive. They have new motor APP290 that is specifically developed for that platform.
Okay, and the 290 refers to the Newton meters of torque.
Newton meters of torque. While we have a 310, so Wes and I drive APP 310. Chris has APP 550 in his ID7, so that's the most powerful. Yes, that rocks. And lastly, there's a third change that I really liked on the MEB Plus platform, which is the rear brakes are not drum brakes, and they have also changed the brake technology. That I'm hearing it's much better brake blending, and it feels more natural that the car can stop, and it has one pedal driving. Finally.
So
the one pedal drive I haven't seen. I just heard that the regen should be way strong. If it has one pedal drive, that would be amazing. Yeah.
So mostly small changes, but they're things that people have been that enthusiasts have been asking for. And when you said different battery chemistry, you mean that it's going to be lithium iron phosphate, LFP?
Yes, like the entry cell.
The entry, the others will be the normal batteries.
NMC, yes.
So, and that will be an option just to make it cheaper.
But the Plus, MEB Plus will be ID Polo and then ID Cross. And then Skoda Epic and Cupra Raval, which is, again, the exact same cars, just Cupra version and Skoda version.
And different designs, right? Those cars have little different designs. And so when you think about it, it's something that we know from between ID4 and Q4 e-tron, for example, and Skoda Enyaq and the Cupra. So it's this continuation of this like different design themes that attract different audiences. Makes total sense. And so Chris, you did a beautiful video on the interior, right?
So I was very lucky that I wasn't invited to look at it myself, but Volkswagen sent me video and pictures of the new interior, and it looks great. It has a lot of different. Go watch it on my channel. Yeah. I'm sure the link is here in the description. It really looks good. They've done well. I think they implemented everything that people were complaining for the last few years, and they were maybe too scared to change it in the existing one, and so they put it into the ID Polo. It looks really good. But what I see, what you can do. I mean, what we see is the new physical buttons, no haptic feedback things. A lot of people were always complaining about it. For me, I was okay with it. I had no problem with it. I do the swiping for the cruise control speed, for example. So for me it was, but a lot of people hate them. And so that's why they changed it, and that's okay. And now buttons under the screen for fast access and a real volume, and then four window opening buttons. Oh my God.
Revolutionary.
And that the screen is just bigger now. I mean, all IDs so far had the tiny little, what is it?
The binnacle screen.
What the size? 7-inch, 10-inch? I don't know. And now we have a bigger screen, and I hope they will put a lot of information in there, and not just the design things that we see so far. I mean, they love the retro design. They said it when they showed the ID2 the first day. It's going to have a retro design. It's going to look like you're driving an old Golf. I don't want to drive a Golf. That's why I'm going electric here. Yeah. I doubt that a car that starts at 25,000 euros will drive the same. I mean, you have to cut costs at some point.
You have to. And the front wheel drive, I think, is a big difference, right? Because you have only limited amount of power that you can put to the pavement with front wheel drive. But also, please subscribe to our channel, because you know us, we are crazy. So we will do a deep dive on the new interior and kind of assess if these components can be retrofittable into our ID4s, because we already have physical buttons in our ID4. So this may be the next level of mods, and we'll talk feasibility. So please subscribe not to miss that episode.
Yeah.
Volkswagen needs the 800 volt system.
Yeah.
They need that. I mean, everyone is getting there. Mercedes is there, BMW with the new iX3, which looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Neue Klasse, like those new cars are amazing.
Yeah, and they need to go there as well.
So the MEB Plus will not be an 800 volt architecture platform.
No. MEB Plus, and the same with entry, will be cheap cars, high volume, make them cheap but still drive great, give enough space. So essentially trying to make a cheap EV that's still fine to drive. I mean, the numbers they showed, range, the range is very similar to the ID3 when I got it in 2020. The charging is better than back then. Yes, only 130 kilowatt peak with the NMC battery, but 26 minutes or so, 10 to 80%, that's better than what I had when the ID3 came out. So I think it's still fine to go a bit long distance. Yes, other cars are faster and you don't get a lot of power, but again, it starts at 25,000 with the LFP battery, so I'm guessing 30,000 with the bigger battery.
So, by the way, the ID.Polo would be like a similar size as the Chevy Bolt or the Nissan Leaf. Those cars are or will be rebooted here in the US.
And the new Leaf really looks fabulous compared to the old one. If you haven't seen it yet, they made a lot of
I have seen the pictures. Yeah, no, they've done well.
So, anything else, Chris, you would like to share with the audience or mention that we haven't covered?
Back to the ID.Polo. So premiere is in April, but it should be coming to the customers in September or October. There will be a pre-sale thing where you can register and hopefully get it early. I will be doing that, of course, because I want it early, because it's important for the channel, but also for me too.
Yeah.
Because it's a next step, and especially for the software. There's Android in there, so I'm hoping for apps to install and updates more often and stuff like this.
Oh, so the infotainment is Android based?
Android Automotive, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to driving this car, because again, it's the new world that Volkswagen is going into, and what they need, and hopefully, I know Volkswagen now a bit, and I think they will deliver a car that's, of course, maybe not as cheap as other cars, but then delivers on other things where it still drives good. Where other cars, at some point, you just feel, okay, this is cheap and it drives cheap. And for some people, that's fine.
Yeah,
I've seen some of the reviews, and we'll link some of the reviews, the early driving experiences, and people were amazed about how the car drives. They were like, "Oh my god, front wheel drive only! This is incredible!" So I agree with you, Chris. That's the card that the German automakers like VW can pull because they know how to tune the chassis very well. So
exactly.
the experience is beautiful. So I'm excited. Who knows if we get the ID GTI at least here in the US? But who knows? Maybe no. Well, likely no.
Yeah,
but
I doubt it.
Who knows?
I doubt it. Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much, Chris, for taking the time to spend with us again.
Anytime.
It's so fun talking to you, and lots of laughs. And
That's good.
and Jan, thanks for reaching back out. We're excited to see what Volkswagen comes up with. And you guys please subscribe and don't forget to check out Chris's videos and his Deutsch channel too, if you are so inclined. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.